This podcast is sponsored by StockPick. Most investment information is delivered through dense, convoluted websites. StockPick is the only investor-focused mobile app that serves world-class news and insights through short, engaging videos similar to TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Every week, you'll get 15 or more stock tips from Wall Street pros, plus their team shares daily buy-sell recommendations from the world's top brokerages. Try StockPick today on a 14-day free trial. Check out the link in the description below. Now back to the episode.
Class is now in session.
Welcome back to episode 12 of the 9 Degrees podcast, the number one non-educational, education-themed podcast in the world. We might have 9 degrees among us, but we still don't know much about anything. We'll try to keep you informed with the most interesting current events in the world, but as always, make sure you use a fact checker because we definitely don't. As always, I'm your boy Jerome. We got Maddox, we got Jackson, we got Jared back for another week. Make sure you're listening to the audio version. Download it on Spotify, Apple, anywhere you can find podcast, video version on youtube.com/JeromeVoz, socials at 9 Degrees Pod on everything. You guys already know the drill at this point. Guys, class is now in session. Let's start off with homeroom, like we always do, our weekly segment where we catch up on life, talk about our gripes, just have general pleasantries. What's going on in everyone's life this week? How are we feeling?
Feeling good. I have a podcast to recommend. That's what I'm bringing to the homeroom today.
Listen, if it's not the 9 Degrees Pod, I don't want to hear it. But go ahead.
It's Lex Friedman pod, and honestly, his pod is better than our pod. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, come on! You can't say that. You can't say that.
I love Lex Friedman. Do any of you guys watch him?
I don't think I do. He's popped up on my feed before, but
he
interviews
a lot of good people, and he does like long format, just very like, I don't know, not like super serious, but just like intentional interviews, you know. And he's just a good guy, I think. But anyway,
did he like interview someone specific that you're recommending?
Elon Musk and like 4 members of the Neuralink team. It was an 8.5 hour interview.
Whoa.
Wow. He did like one person at a time. So like in aggregate, it was 8.5 hours. But I listened to the whole thing and it was extremely interesting. And so I wanted to bring it up because I feel like we've given our takes on Elon Musk have been leaning negative on the pod.
Yeah.
So listening to this, it is obvious to me that the thing that Elon Musk is great at is understanding a lot of different things at a high level, but understanding them like well enough that he can create businesses around them, but then like hiring experts like in to like execute on those ideas, because all of the team members of Neuralink, that they're just like, you can tell like they're incredibly like smart people and just seem like good people too. So if anything, yeah, like given all of Elon Musk's flaws, like that's definitely that's definitely like the skill set that he has. And I would imagine that's like how he's been able to create all these businesses. But the technology behind Neuralink, you know, we've joked about Elon Musk just putting chips in people's brains, but like it's the engineering that has gone into this is like really, really impressive. Basically any problem that like the brain is somewhat related to like could be solved with this technology. Like,
is it
schizophrenia, paraplegics is like the main like use case now. So like giving them the ability to like use a computer just like with their brain.
Well, so my question was going to be like, you know, in the past I've compared Neuralink to like the Apple Vision Pro, where I was like, oh, well, if you can use like eye tracking, like what's the point of this thing? But it sounds like it's more for actual like medical conditions, like trying to fix those.
Yeah, it is. And but it could be, I mean, in the future it could be other things too. But like communication, like if 2 people had these implanted, they could just communicate instantly with each other. But
dang, telepathy.
That's actually what they called it. From the eye movement thing, there's more latency, I think, involved with that. I think this is a quicker signal, and then also like these the technology has these little like these little like electrodes, I think is what they call them, that go down into the brain, and they can receive signals, but they can also emit signals. So it's like you're not just like you can stimulate the brain as well as just decode like the signals. So it's like you can not only like can you figure out what your brain is wanting to do and then making it happen in the real world, but like you can stimulate the brain to make it do things like in your body, essentially.
No, that's awesome. Everyone go listen to you're specifically recommending this episode around Neuralink or just the podcast in general?
The podcast in general. I don't listen to every episode. Some of it's like he talks to people in a lot of different fields. Some of it's like too like a lot of the space stuff is it's interesting, but it's hard for me to like understand. This was like I could understand what was going on enough, but it was also like, obviously outside my area of expertise, but
well, it sounds like
it just was like it's exciting and promising and could solve a lot of problems. And we were giving him crap about putting chips in people's brains, but I think when you listen to this, you understand like the reasoning behind it.
I always thought we were balanced, though on the Neuralink we were more negative, so that's fair. That's fair to correct that a little bit.
If you want to learn more about a bunch of different industries, after you watch or listen to the 9 Degrees podcast, make sure to tune in to the Lex Friedman podcast. Shout out Lex. I've got a great
sponsor us.
Yeah, sponsor us, Lex. Is that possible? Do podcasts sponsor other podcasts?
I would love if he did.
We can find out.
But
well, I have a gripe this week. To bring it down on a softer note and not educational at all. Are dogs allowed on planes?
Mm-hmm.
Because here's my question. I was on a plane a couple months ago, and I don't know why I was thinking about this, but I was on a plane, and I know that dogs, like little dogs, are allowed in their little carrier thingy to be on a plane. And that's fine, sure. I think you have to like buy a ticket for the dog or whatever, but you're allowed to bring it on the plane and like shove it underneath the seat in front of you.
The airplane? Oh.
Yeah, on it, like no, what? Shove it underneath the seat in front of you.
In the luggage compartment.
They do that with big dogs. Like you put them in a crate, you put them to sleep, and they like put them in the checked baggage. Yeah, but little dogs you can put in their little carrier and shove under your seat, which is like, who wants to do that? First of all, but here was my gripe. Like, and I just need to know, am I the jerk here? Because like this couple who was sitting next to me, they had a dog, fine. They had it in the carrier, also fine. Then at some point in the middle of the flight, they just let the dog like out of the carrier, and now there's just a dog just in their laps, just like walking around, and like not like walking around the plane, but like just our row and like licking my feet and stuff. And I love dogs. I absolutely love dogs, and it was a cute dog, but I was just like, is this allowed? What's going on right now? I don't understand.
Can I take a pause? Can we go back to the dog licking your feet part? Like,
well,
why did you allow the dog?
I just rubbed a little peanut butter down my leg, and I was just, trying to feel something that day. This sounds
like a you problem.
No, the dog licked my shoe one time, and then the guy was like, "Oh, I'm sorry," and then like pulled the dog back. But I was like, "Why is the dog just out and about?"
So, I agree with your gripe. I do think you are also allowed to let dogs out on a plane if they're a service dog. This was a cute little poodle-ish dog that fit in a purse. You know what I'm saying? So that I agree with your gripe there. That's ridiculous because that's like people not putting dogs on a leash, and that's a gripe for me. When people are like, "Oh, they're okay. Like they're well trained. They're off a leash. They're an animal.
Yeah.
Put them on a leash." So I agree with your gripe there, but yes, you can have dogs outside of a carrier, whether you believe it or not.
As the most anti-dog person on this podcast.
Oh my God. Is that something you want the internet to know? That's a wild thing to say. Go ahead.
Well, it's an objective fact. I gotta say, I'm not a fan of letting, whenever a dog gets into my personal space, I just like cringe as a passive aggressive way of letting the owner know that they gotta get that dog away from me. Or else, I don't know where else what. I'm trying to think if I was on a flight. See, I might hate dogs, but I also hate trying to call over authority figures to resolve some problem that I'm having.
I agree,
so,
which is why I didn't do anything. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which is why I didn't. But I was just thinking about it, and I was like, this It's a little strange.
Well, can I point out that, Jerome, you seem to always have issues on your airline travels.
I know. I had this old man one time ask me how to connect to the Wi-Fi, and I had to explain to him he had to pay for it, and he was like, "No, well, you're on it, so like that must mean that like I should be able to get on it. Like, can you help me get on the Wi-Fi?" And I didn't know how to explain to him that no, like I paid for it, and I can't just give you like. Do you want me to just give you my laptop? You can just have my laptop because I don't want to deal with this conversation anymore.
I think that's probably what he was asking for.
But anyway,
I think they should create a separate space in the back of a plane for animals.
I would also like to add babies, dogs and babies,
like
in the back.
just a big cage. You put them all in there together.
Honestly, it would be better for everybody. The babies get to play with the dogs. The dogs, get
Jackson,
constant attention.
Are you
or get eaten by the
objectively?
dogs.
I was going to ask Jackson, are you objectively against babies?
No.
Oh, okay.
I definitely dislike dogs more than babies.
Okay.
I just don't like dogs. I understand some people like them. A lot of people like them.
Oh,
but
this was
not for me.
Sorry, this was kind of brought up in a conversation that I had a little while ago. So, did you have pets growing up?
Yeah.
We had a gerbil, but it died of starvation.
Oh my God.
So that was the only, I'm just moving past it. That was the only animal. So the theory goes that people who don't like or don't want pets when they're older are normally people who didn't have pets when they were younger. Because like I had dogs when I was younger. I want dogs when I eventually get out of a 700 square foot apartment. But this is one in the mark of didn't have great experiences with pets when they were younger, not wanting pets when they're older. So I just wanted to get another data point.
It might be biased because the reason I didn't have a dog growing up is I didn't want a dog because my brother and I didn't like dogs. We both disliked being around dogs.
How did you know you didn't like dogs if you didn't have one as a pet?
I mean...
And that has been episode 12 of the 9 Degrees podcast. Thanks for watching.
Every other family has dogs, so we were around dogs before. We've been around dogs, and we just don't like them. So,
well, Jackson, sounds like your gripe this week is you hate dogs and you don't know how to take care of gerbils.
That's my gripe. That's my gripe every. Okay, that's my gripe every week that I don't like dogs. I could talk about that for every week, but I don't think it would help our viewership.
Do you have a different gripe? How was your week this week?
Oh no, it's good. Something I started doing this week is I've been going to the athletic club to practice pickleball in the morning before work. So I've been waking up at like 5:15, which is a crazy lifestyle change. It means I have to go to bed like 9 to 10-ish time period. But I don't know. I'm a big fan. I like waking up in the morning. I feel more full when I wake up early. And I think I like the what do you call it? The ambiance, the style of going to an athletic club and like the general atmosphere of like a athletic club, country club kind of thing. So maybe in 10 years when in 10 years when I have like money to blow, I might get into that scene.
Well, it sounds like you're in that scene right now.
Oh yeah, I'm abusing someone's guest passes. They're guest passing me into the club.
Gotcha. Yeah. Got to scrub that from the internet so they don't find you out. But that's awesome. That's like what I strive to be. But
I was thinking that like, well, I mean, I do sometimes, but I want to like get to the point where that's like my routine. Like, I love, like you said, I love getting up early and like exercising before like the world is awake. It's like you just feel like you've gotten ahead a little bit, and then you're just like ready to take on the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at the athletic club, no dogs allowed. So I think I've had a pretty great week. Covered.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's move right into first period with Professor Maddox this week. Give us a little market update. Lots of things going on.
Yes, it's been a big week in markets. Let me share my screen here for the audio listeners. All right, so this is our asset class returns year to date. You can see Bitcoin still, still the top performer, although we dipped down pretty good here and almost declined past all the other assets. So, but still up 35% year to date. And we still have bonds as the worst performer like basically flat year to date. This is since we last recorded, though. So we've had some big changes here because now bonds are up the most. This is about 2 weeks since we last recorded.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to kind of talk about. What in the world happened?
Well,
since we last recorded.
What do you guys think that happened? That's what I always love starting with. Like, before I give my insights, like, what do you think?
I heard it was the start of the next Great Recession.
Okay. Yeah, but I guess the question is, like, what do we think caused that? I heard a couple different things. I heard, just general volatility around election times. Kamala Harris announcing the new VP pick is like, just like socially volatile, I guess. I don't know. That was one thing. I heard Iran said that they were going to wage war on Israel. I heard that was another thing. And then the major thing that I heard was about the Japanese, like, bank, federal bank, central bank, whatever it's called, and that they, like, raised interest rates. And to my understanding, this is just, like, anecdotal. What's the word there? Anecdotal experience from my sister living there. But supposedly Japan has been in, like, a negative interest rate environment for a long time, and has recently come to zero, to now positive, to now they have increased rates like several months in a row, or like several quarters in a row, or something like that. And my understanding was previously there were a lot of types of investors that were heavily leveraged on Japanese yen because the exchange rate was so good, and because they were able to leverage just like, zero to negative interest rate and not have to pay back on that loan, essentially investing in U.S. markets. But then with the interest rate going up, like, now that debt is like way more expensive to pay back, and so they had to like liquidate their foreign assets to pay back the leveraged yen and blah blah blah, and that caused a lot of liquidation. I don't know, and I'm sure it's some mix of all of these different things, but that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, this is just how it always happens. Something big in the markets happens, and then people love to like put the stories to like explain why it happened. Yeah. The yen carry trade is like, yeah, that has started to unwind, but like that's not. I don't think that that's like the big. That's not the main point here. But yeah, like basically, interest rates in Japan have been near zero for a long time. People borrow money in Japan because it's essentially free to borrow money and then invest in higher returning assets. So yeah, then the Bank of Japan raised rates. So now that dynamic does not hold true. So people are unwinding their trades essentially. I think people are over exaggerating the size of like the notional value of that trade, though, from what I've been seeing. Yeah, on the internet. So people are acting like that's like a big systemic thing that I don't really think is gonna like has as much impact as people are making out to be. The election stuff, like if you look empirically, like politics and elections literally like have no influence on market behavior. So people love to talk about elections and politics, but it's like markets empirically like don't care about that. Yeah. So I always like I don't ever factor in. People are like, well, like let's wait till after the election or whatever. I don't ever factor in the elections or anything like that into my like mental model about markets because the data just shows there's no relationship. So right. The big picture here, and Jackson, I'm curious, like, what is there? If you heard that it's like, the start of the Great Recession or whatever, like what is there more like color behind that, or is that just like a headline that you heard?
No, it's mainly just headlines. And I mean, I don't know when it was. I think it was like around the start of the month, a couple days after the start of the month, there was a major dip, and then I'm seeing these charts. We've had a little bit of a recovery, so it could have been just a slight blip. Slight market reaction and then a correction.
Yeah.
Like an overreaction.
What I think the big picture, or like the main point, the main takeaway is here is what we have right now is, so like markets and prices of assets, the current prices of assets reflect people's like future expectations, right? Like up to like a year to 18 months out, right? So like whatever people were thinking the near future is going to look like, that's how they're like taking positions in the markets, right? So what you have in market like asset pricing right now is like people have optimistic expectations about the growth of earnings in companies and the growth of the economy. Like if you like, they're expecting like really, really good numbers, right? And then the reality of our economy is like, it's not, it's not crashing. It's probably slowing a little bit. So like as the reality of the economy comes out, like with data points, and then you have expectations that are up here, like forward-looking expectations like this, and then the reality is just like this,
Yeah.
As that reality comes out, like the prices of assets have to come down because they don't match up. Like there's a mismatch between,
and I guess it looks like a huge drop, but in reality, it's just like correcting to where it should be.
Yeah, and what I think the main cause of it was the unemployment number. Unemployment came in a lot higher than people were expecting. So like that's like, people expecting all this growth and strong employment, and the Fed's going to cut rates soon because rates have been so high, and then like the reality that comes in is like not what people were expecting, and so you have to like the prices have to adjust for that. Whether or not that like, and so like let's be clear, like the prices are still high, and so whether that dynamic keeps continuing from here, and then whether we do like get into a recession, I have no idea. But like it could theoretically be the start of that. But that to me is like that's the thing that matters. That's all the other stuff is just noise or byproducts or like maybe potentially contributing factors. But honestly, I would say, with the carry trade, I feel like the yen carry trade has been getting a lot of attention, but it's like it could be that Japan raised rates, but it also could be, well, people that borrowed money from Japan and invested in US stocks, well, now they're not as interested in US stocks anymore, so now they're unwinding the trades because of that. You see what I'm saying? It could, so it's hard to know, but it's
I did see I think JP Morgan or Morgan Stanley, one of the two, did increase their like target recession like likelihood or whatever went by the end of the year up to 35% chance from 25. But like in reality, like 35% chance, I mean that's a high number, but it's not saying like that it's a guarantee that anything's gonna happen.
I mean, yeah, I mean nothing's ever a guarantee in markets, and nothing is ever certain. So
except for my interest that I get from Robinhood Gold, not a sponsor.
Should be though. Why not?
Should be.
All right, should we keep looking at these prices here? So
yeah,
Bitcoin down almost 10% since our last episode, and bonds up about 4%. This is, these are my proxies for buy and hold management versus active management, I guess. And year to date, it looks like buy and hold has kind of outperformed just by a percentage point. And in the recent weeks, it's up significantly relative to active management. And then sectors, year to date, we have XLC. Sorry, I got to look what that is. I don't remember. Communication. Never would have guessed that communication would be the best performing sector this year. And then worst performing XLY, that's consumer discretionary, which kind of makes sense.
Is DJT part of XLC Communications?
I don't know off the top of my head, but we could look it up. I can look it up after I finish my segment here. And then since last episode, utilities are the best performing, up 4%, and tech down almost 10%, which is a pretty big move.
I did see a post on Reddit that was like basically a big tech like window of like all tech, like a large chunk of tech stocks, and they were all down. Right when this big dip happened, they were down about, collectively, I would say like 8 to 10%.
Yeah. So that's another part of this whole dynamic that I think could be playing out, because tech has long been the best performing sector. So I'm eventually expecting some type of rotation from that, but I don't know if this is the start of that. I mean, just looking at these last 2 weeks, when you see tech down 10% and utilities up 4%, that's kind of like given recessionary vibes, because utilities are like known to be a very stable sector. Just, pure cash flow, like not a lot of volatility. So I don't know. No investment advice here, but just keeping tabs on what's going on.
Yeah, so what are our takeaways from the week? Are we screwed? Are we fine? Is everything going to be okay? Do I need to go start buying gold and going down into a bunker somewhere?
I mean, I think you should always own gold. I'm very pro diversification, and diversification, in my view, is a little bit of everything.
I always got that gold on me, you know what I mean?
And then, well, yeah, I don't know. I think mostly just like, I think that, if you're a good investment approach, you should be prepared for these things. Like you shouldn't be changing your approach during these times. So yeah, I wouldn't do anything differently. If you wanted to change to approach where like you're prepared for these things already, like I would start doing that, but I wouldn't change anything just like because like there's volatility. Like that's like the wrong thing to do. But yeah, that's anyone else got market thoughts?
I wasn't following. I didn't even know anything was happening until my little Microsoft ticker just went red on my work computer.
Honestly, dude, like that's probably for most people the way you want to be. Just don't even pay attention. Put a piece of your paycheck into it every week and just let what happens happen.
Yeah. Young enough to financially recover, so bring it on.
Exactly.
That's true.
Actually,
that's
don't.
true.
Please don't.
I mean, for people our age that are still accumulating, like early in their accumulation stage, like a big correction would be advantageous.
True. And that was our M&M's segment of the week: markets and Maddox. Maddox and markets.
M&M's. Okay. Well, I guess I'll roll into my next segment. Business ideas. The good and the bad.
This is my favorite segment. I like the other name better.
What was
bad business ideas that could potentially be good.
Well, okay, but I was gonna bring a good one and a bad one.
Oh, okay.
A potentially good one.
All right, let's hear them.
Leave us comments about the names. If you come up with a better name, let us know.
Good business ideas that could potentially be bad. That's this half of the segment.
This one's just the first one is just a bad one. Okay. This one's brought to us by our fellow content creator friend Joseph Morrison. He told me this one at my bachelor party, and I was just like, "This is just bad, dude." But it's coffee, decaffeinated coffee that has melatonin in it.
I actually don't think that's that bad.
Come on.
No,
I actually kind of agree with Jared.
I can support that. Yeah.
Wait, that could be a good idea. People love drinking a little cappuccino after dinner or,
Okay.
Like people love that nighttime coffee.
Yeah.
Imagine like nighttime sleepy time tea, but it's coffee.
Yeah, that's his point. He's like, I love coffee, but I don't want to drink it at night. My point was like, why not just drink a cup of decaf and take a melatonin?
But why do two when I can do one?
That's the business idea here. We could definitely make this a K-cup.
I don't know, man.
Or
you guys go for it. I'm not investing in this one.
Dude, this
I'm
is
gonna
a
go
good
spike my
idea.
decaf.
This is a good idea. Let's take my losses from Bitcoin. Let's liquidate that, and let's go start this company.
That's not
Honestly,
enough capital.
Get with Joseph, because I think he would probably do it.
Joseph, if you see this clip, hit us up, because I think this is a great idea. What else you got?
I think I set myself up poorly, because this was supposed to be my good one, but you guys liked my bad one, and now I feel like you're going to hate my potentially good one.
Let's roll those dice.
Hey, that's why these are potentially good ideas, or good business ideas that could potentially be bad.
Okay. So I don't know how to start this one. I don't know how to kick this one off. I don't know how
Just
to
go for it.
I don't know
Just
how
dive right
to
into
pitch.
it.
Yeah.
So okay.
Sell me this pencil.
So last Friday night,
Thanks, Rebecca. Oh no, Katie. Sorry,
That's Katie.
Katie. Sorry.
It's fine.
we were gonna play Power World, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like Friday night. We're gaming with the boys. I really wanted a beer, but I didn't want to drink because I have kind of committed to not drinking till my wedding, mostly just because like I just got a lot going on right now, and I just want to be dialed in and staying fit. But I was really craving a beer. So I told Jackson this. I didn't tell you guys this, but so I went and bought a 6-pack of non-alcoholic beer.
What'd you get?
Okay.
The Athletic Brew
Bud
here.
Zero?
Huh?
Oh, I haven't had that one.
Very
Okay.
good. This was very good. Like, this was an enjoyable beer.
Nice.
And honestly, it did exactly like what I wanted. Like, it like fulfilled the craving, I guess. And then I didn't feel like gross at all the next day. So I don't know. And so my thought here is, and I don't know if you guys are gonna buy into this, because Jackson, I know you don't drink and you're perfectly fine, like I think going out and hanging out with people that are drinking like sober, is that
Not the most fun thing in the world, but
like you're okay with it.
has to happen.
Right? Yeah. Okay. And then Jerome and Jared, I think you are kind of, I mean,
Just say it.
no, like
we drink.
We're heavy
That's what we do.
drinkers.
I wouldn't call you heavy drinkers, but like you drink as like normally, like as throughout your life.
Yeah, I can think of heavier drinkers.
But
We can all think of
Don't make me
drinkers.
take it as a challenge.
Yeah.
I in my adult life, I guess like have been primarily like a social drinker. Like like drinking is what I do when I'm like, the thing I am focused on is like hanging out with people, like spending, enjoying my time with people. So, but yeah, I'm just getting to the point where like even one drink, if I have one drink, like I can feel it affect my energy levels the next day, productivity, like just like my clouds, my decision making, like brain fog, And so maybe I'm just being a little baby, but I've been trying to find like a solution, like where I can still, socially drink or like have that enjoyment, that social lubricant, but not have the drawdown in my productivity levels the next day.
Bro,
so
what's the business idea?
I'm getting to it.
It sounds like you need to drink more tequila.
More tequila?
Yeah.
Well, so I tried that. I tried the Z-Biotic, right? And that does improve it, but I don't think it's like a 100% like fix. And then also like the tequila thing is apparently supposed to because
of the hangover.
Yeah, right. I haven't tried that, but I don't just want to sit there and drink tequila on the rocks either. Like, like that doesn't sound fun to me. So I'm just saying, the business idea is if you can create like a beverage that can like achieve those goals without the like side effects of alcohol.
Like an alcoholic beverage or non-alcoholic?
Not alcohol, but it has like something that gives you that like it marks a social gathering, It relaxes you, you chill out, it takes the edge off, and but it's socially acceptable. I got these non-alcoholic beers, and honestly, like it achieved kind of what I wanted it to. It wasn't as like potent as I would want if I was like going out with people, I think. But
I think Maddox
I got
tried
back.
to
I got backlash. Jackson, who is a sober person, like he even was like, "Why? What's the point?" You know, like
I think you just tried to invent soda, is what you did.
No,
like, I think
soda is not. Soda does not do that. Like I'm not going out with my friends. I'm not going out with my friends and drinking soda while they're like getting drunk. Like that's lame. I'm talking about like I think so. I know people are doing this, but I don't know if anyone's like solved it yet. Like nootropics beverages, so like mushroom type things. I mean, I know there's like.
Does that give you like a psychedelic like effect?
Yeah, mushrooms do. Yeah, for sure.
The beverage does
shrooms.
I don't know. I haven't tried them. I'm saying though,
like potentially negative side effects later on. You know,
it's not.
So
like...
are you wanting a beverage that like slightly impairs you, but not the effects of alcohol?
Yes, like gets you to a buzz type state.
Yeah,
but like doesn't go beyond that, and like you don't risk like feeling gross the next day.
A drink that would prevent the hangover.
Not even preventing the hangover. Like you can't even get a hangover from this.
I think you just want a really low percentage beer. Yeah.
Well, the non-alcoholic beer actually is like
0.1%.
It has some in it, and I think that's why it kind of satiates the craving, because like it does. I feel like it does. It did like, you know, you get like just the slightest bit of the sensation, and it's like, okay, yeah, like I'm chilling out with my boys, like I'm having a good time, you know.
I also will. Well, I was gonna say I will support non-alcoholic beers out like drinking with people. I am 100% game with that, because it's the same idea of like decaf coffee. You like the taste of it.
Yeah. You
want to drink it in that situation. You just don't want to be super messed up the next day. I'm perfectly supportive of non-alcoholic beers out when you're like with people.
Yeah, and honestly, like I enjoyed this, and I probably will do that more. I was just thinking, if you could solve this where it's not just like it's a legitimate alternative to people that even actually like to drink, you know, but like, oh, I gotta get up early for work the next day, or I got a big exam in the morning or something, like, but I still want to go out with my friends. And it's like, you could create a product that is like served in bars. Like you can pick up a 12-pack at the store, like a normal store. Like that doesn't exist yet. So like, that's the problem.
That's the idea.
If you could solve that problem, I think there is a big market for that.
I have a suggestion. If we're spitballing, brainstorming here, workshopping, non-alcoholic beer that we add a little bit of THC to, get you nice and loose. I think that's a thing, right? People make that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think THC drinks exist now. I don't know what the side effects the next day are, but
yeah, they do. And honestly, I haven't done my research on all of this. I know products exist, but I don't, like, my point is still no one's like solved that problem that I'm talking about. Like gotten something that universally people like. I still feel like those things are like still too niche, and like, you know, people, it's not like a valid substitute for drinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you have to create that.
Yeah. Before we completely move off the topic, Maddox, I want the next time you drink in like your house, I want you to try something that I believe Russell Crowe has like advocated before, which is take a bottle of tequila. Okay. You're going to pour it into a huge bowl of ice. You're going to let that ice melt. And then you're going to take that tequila, basically water. You're going to put some kind of fruit, like hydration fruit, coconut, you know, something like that. You're going to pour that in there. Then you're going to put that in a jug, and that's what you're going to drink out of.
Golly. That's a lot.
And you could just do like little 8-ounce cups at a time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. But that's now your like drink of the night.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Sharks, we got two ideas here. We got two great business ideas. Which are we investing in? I know my choice. I'm going number one. Melatonin coffee.
Give me decaf coffee. Yep.
All right.
Because idea number two, the science isn't there yet. There's an opportunity.
Right. You're right. That's the reason I'm not investing in idea number two.
That sounds like It sounds like you're trying to create the jewel of alcohol, but I think we need to send it back to the R&D department.
I'm here for it. I'm here for the idea.
But do you not think the market for that would be way bigger than melatonin coffee?
Yes, but this is like the market for fusion energy is like infinite. But I mean,
yeah, right.
I actually
but we
don't
can't
think
figure
so.
it out.
I mean, you basically are looking for people who want the sensation of drinking but don't want to drink. And I think that's a small market because I think those people would just drink, and there's a big market of people who just drink.
Maybe we could do an alcohol IV drip.
That sounds dangerous.
All right, I think we should earn some lunch money, boys. This podcast is sponsored by StockPick. Most investment information is delivered through dense, convoluted websites. StockPick is the only investor-focused mobile app that serves world-class news and insights through short, engaging videos similar to TikTok or YouTube Shorts. Every week, you'll get 15 or more stock tips from Wall Street pros, plus their team shares daily buy-sell recommendations from the world's top brokerages, the type of information typically reserved for institutional investors. On top of that, StockPick offers great value for money compared to alternatives like Seeking Alpha or The Motley Fool. The price points are far more accessible. It works out to just $1.50 a week versus up to $115 per week on some of those other platforms. Try StockPick today on a 14-day free trial. Check out the link in the description below. Now back to the episode. All right, on to second period with yours truly, your favorite professor, obviously. I want to go back and talk about Boeing again. So we've been talking about Boeing a lot because Boeing's been in the crapper for all of the year, right? They hired that new CEO to come in and fix all their quality issues. And what happened? He got fired because he could not fix the quality issues. And they've been having more and more. And we often talk on this podcast, for whatever reason, about all of the issues that Boeing's been having. But did you guys know that Boeing is in the space shuttle game?
That doesn't surprise me.
Really? I was shocked. I had no idea.
I mean, who else is going to do it? Yeah.
Well, I mean, SpaceX makes rockets. Blue Origin makes rockets.
So, I mean, they didn't make the moon landing shuttle. They didn't make the Apollo shuttles.
Who made those? Are those Boeing's?
I don't know.
No, they're not.
Well, let's call our fact checker.
Who is it?
I don't know who it is. I just assumed NASA made them is what I thought. But obviously, like, I don't know that that's true because, like, NASA contracts, like, a SpaceX or a Blue Origin or whatever, you know? So, yeah, someone look it up. Jamie?
Jamie?
Isn't that the guy off of the Joe Rogan podcast?
I mean, it makes sense to me. I feel like the airline industry is tangential to the... Like,
golly.
They're probably
typing is going crazy right now.
Sorry.
They're probably making similar parts, you know?
I don't think so. Like, go ahead.
Boeing helped is apparently the answer.
Interesting.
There were Boeing products on the rocket that went to the moon.
Interesting. Okay. It's like how Denso makes parts for Toyota cars, but they're not Toyota.
Yeah. Sure. That's a very niche reference that no one.
I was going to say
is that right?
East Tennessee
okay,
will get.
Apologies.
This audience.
Anyway, back on June 5th, Boeing launched 2 astronauts into space for the first time ever. They've sent shuttles to space before, never astronauts. Okay, on the Boeing Starliner, contracted by NASA, and NASA basically said, like, essentially the most capitalistic response to this, which was competition's a good thing. We can't just have SpaceX Dragons going up all the time. Which, sure, fair. Is Boeing really the company you want to be contracting with right now? Like, with everything going on, I assume these contracts have probably, like, been in place for a while, but it is what it is. So Boeing had already had to overcome multiple problems on their new Starliner over the years during build phase. The company had launched a empty Starliner twice before committing a crew, and during that time, they had to repeat the initial test flight because of bad software and other issues, and delays have already cost the company over $1 billion. Then, during another test, they found that their capsule sprang a leak in propulsion-related plumbing. But somehow, Boeing and NASA both said that the small leak was stable and isolated, and they were still going to proceed with the astronaut flight, right? So this is a both Boeing and NASA issue. rocket scientists much more intelligent than I, but I don't know.
Boeing does have a lot of experience working with leaks in their aircraft.
Exactly, like doors. Yeah. But that's my point is, like, I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to realize leak equals bad. Anyway, we'll keep going. So anyway, they launched these astronauts, and as the Starliner starts approaching the International Space Station, 4 more leaks erupted, and 5 of the 28 thrusters failed as the astronauts are approaching the space station. Luckily, they were able to dock, and they're okay. And 4 of the 5 failed thrusters seem to come back online. But Boeing and NASA have now, or NASA has deemed the Starlink unsafe to fly back, right?
Starliner.
Yes. Apologies. Starlink is the Elon Musk Wi-Fi thing.
Yep.
The Starliner, unsafe to come back to Earth, right? Boeing they are claiming constantly over and over and over that they think they could make it happen. But it's like, come on. We can't trust you at this point, you know? It's like the ex-boyfriend, the cheating boyfriend that keeps saying, like, no, baby, next time I won't do it, you know? It's given that kind of vibe, you know? But so these astronauts were supposed to go for 8 days. That was the mission, right? And now they are stranded. It is August, boys. They've been there for 2 months already. And apparently there's plenty of supplies, and there's other people from, like, Russia and one other U.S. person, or maybe a couple other U.S. people at the space station. So they're not, like, alone. But, you know, these people got families. They thought they were going on an 8-day expedition, and now they've been there 2 months. So NASA has now got a contract with SpaceX, which is the next flight mission, whatever, that's going to the space station, and it's launching next month. However, and it was supposed to take 4 astronauts. However, they're bumping 2 of the astronauts off that flight to rescue these 2, and it is a 6-month mission. It is a planned 6-month mission, and they're not going to just bring them back just for, you know, kicks and giggles. Wow. And so these people are now going to be stuck there until February, likely.
For 8 months
total? 8 months. For 8 months total. And the craziest part to me of all of this is, imagine working so hard and spending your entire life to become an astronaut to get bumped off of the mission because 2 dumbasses get caught in space, not of their own fault, but because of Boeing.
Yep. And I thought my flight delays were bad recently.
Right. Yeah, literally. These people got an 8-month flight delay because of Boeing. That's crazy.
That's actually really interesting as well, because, like, I mean, I forget who the individual was, not like Scott Kelly. I forget what his name was, but the guy who went up there for like a year, that was like a whole thing. Like him being up there for a year, they were going to document what space does to the human body. He came back down, had like horrible pain for the first couple of months as he like reacclimated.
Right.
So these guys who thought they were going for 8 days are now going to be up there for 8 months.
8 months.
There's no way they're trained for this.
And what NASA said was, they've got plenty of supplies, so they're fine. Also, we are going to make sure they have plenty of work to do, like plenty of science and research to do. And I was like, okay, yes, because that's the concern. Like, they don't have enough science to do.
Free manual labor. Yeah. Right. Every day they're up there is free science to do.
Boeing really getting some of their workplace tips from the banking industry. They're making these guys work a lot of extra hours. You know?
Yeah.
This would be, I feel like, a really good plot to a movie.
Yeah. Which,
starring Matt Damon.
Yeah,
summer,
right.
Summer blockbusters. Have you guys seen that movie, Fly Me to the Moon, yet?
No, I haven't yet.
I think it's song?
It's technically an Apple movie. Apple TV movie that is in theaters currently, Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum, but it has a great plot line. It is, if we faked the moon landing, how would we have done it? So the entire movie is Scarlett Johansson is this like marketer person, and they're like they're creating sets and stuff to like fake the moon landing. And I don't know, I just thought it was a great like concept for a movie. Anyway.
Just more fuel for the conspiracy fire, but we can move on.
I got another one for you guys. Work from home. We talked about this a couple months ago as well. Dell, if you remember, gave the ultimatum to all their employees: if you don't come back into the office, no more promotions, no more lateral moves. And they were just saying, like, work from home is way less productive. And people still said, F that, we are not coming back to the office. which good for them. Like, I love working from home. I'm like kind of hybrid. I probably work from home like 50% of the time, in the office 50% of the time, and I love it. But the point of this article that I saw was not about if work from home is more productive or not. It was essentially that the conversation doesn't matter. The people have spoken. We can have this argument all day, every day about productivity, but it doesn't matter. The people have spoken. And then he makes a interesting comparison to Suits. So what he says is his first job out of college was at like a consulting firm, required to wear suits and ties every single day. And the argument was, when you are dressed for the part, you feel good, you do good work.
Look good, feel good, play good.
Yeah, exactly. So do suits make you more productive is the question that he ponders in this article. And he proposes that if everyone should come back to the office, they should make all of management, including middle managers, wear formal business attire every day in the office, because formal business attire is more productive. And here are the arguments that he makes. And I just think it's so funny. Wearing a suit makes you more productive in the same way that cyclists wear race uniforms. Because if you feel like Lance Armstrong, you'll pedal harder like Lance Armstrong. So let's all be Warren Buffett. I know, Jackson, I saw your reaction there. Wild person to choose, but that's who he chose. And then here's the other argument that he makes. Suits also make it impractical to do anything physical during the day. No more lunchtime walks, no more workouts, which leads to more productivity because you're stuck at your desk and you're able to do more work. And which I think is just a funny argument. But then on the flip side, he also offers, you could also argue that there's extra time you have to take out of your personal day to go get your suits dry cleaned. So are you really being more productive, or is it causing less productivity? And here's how he finishes it out. Beautiful way to finish it out. My point is, those arguments no longer matter. Yes, having everyone in a centralized location allows for some type of collaboration that you'll never get remotely. Yes, you have to trust your employees when they're remote. Yes, you have a greater chance to goof off when you're remote. Yes, your contributions won't get noticed quickly if you're remote. And yes, commutes are a waste of time. All those are true, but none of it matters. Because when you start to argue one way or the other, ask yourself why we're not all wearing formal business attire anymore.
I mean, okay, I'm confused now. He lost me.
What's the point? What point, side is this guy fall on?
He's not on either side. He's just saying the conversation just doesn't matter anymore. Because it's like, yeah.
It was clickbait. He was clickbaiting. He was rage baiting me.
It was meant to be confusing at the end. But anyway,
I'm gonna sneak in and say I'm pro productivity. However, best that suits the individual for the totality of the company. That's my line.
I like that. If you can be productive anywhere you are, you should be able to be productive where you feel most productive.
Me, I'm most productive in the office, but that's a me thing.
Yeah.
So but I know people who, like, you put them in an office, they hate it. You let them do work at like their house, and they'll get the assignment done faster if they work remotely than if they work in the office.
That's such a hard line to, because it's okay. You can't just make your company policies individual to everybody. We've seen Jared works really, really good from the office, so we're going to make him work from the office. Jerome, he, on the other hand, works great remotely, so he's allowed to work at home.
Well, but point being, they should just allow the option for everyone to do whatever they want. And then
hybrid.
If Dell is saying, people are less productive than home, then, show that in the performance review. Literally, that's the end of the conversation, in my opinion. Show in your year-end review that your productivity was not good, so you're not going to get a raise, or you're not going to get as big of a raise, or no promotion, or whatever. And I feel like that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would say to Max's point, it's harder from a Dell perspective, because I know at smaller companies, you just make the flexibility and then talk to your manager, and then that's kind of the end of the conversation. But for Dell making a company-wide decision for thousands of employees of what they can and cannot do to be retained at Dell, that is, I do think, harder than just being hybrid work and we'll figure it out when we go.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got one more for you guys. Talking about cinematic blockbusters of the year. Any of you guys watch Deadpool and Wolverine, or want to watch Deadpool and Wolverine?
Want to.
It's apparently now the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time.
I saw that. Yeah, it seems like it's gotten a lot of good reviews.
And it's apparently really great. Here is my big gripe that I have with the MCU right now. Nothing makes sense anymore. Ever since they introduced this like multiverse situation going on, nothing makes sense. Like, there's too many different things. Spoilers ahead for if you haven't seen Deadpool Wolverine. But I've seen so many photos ahead.
Hold on.
You don't want
I haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine. I don't want spoilers.
Okay.
What the hell?
Let me in a non-spoiler way say why this pisses me off. It sounds like they did just a lot of cameos just for the hell of cameos. You know?
Sure.
And now like with the multiverse, like nothing matters. Did you guys see the was it the last Doctor Strange movie where they like
Multiverse of Madness?
Yeah, where they like reintroduced the X-Men.
They reintroduced the Fantastic Four.
Yes, that's what I meant. You're right. You're right. And the Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic, was played by John Krasinski, right?
Sure.
And they had Patrick Stewart as Mr. X, right? Not Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart.
Yes.
As Mr. X again.
Okay, Professor X.
I didn't know.
Hey, this is a podcast about like professors. Yeah.
I didn't know that he was on this podcast. But then, you know, at San Diego Comic-Con, they've got the new cast of Fantastic Four out, and friggin' Mr. Fantastic is Pedro Pascal. Sure. And you're like, what's going on? What is going on?
It's a multiverse, dog. There's different universes.
But I don't...
It's an Edward Norton, Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk situation.
Yeah, but stop. They're introducing characters just to get people to go to theaters. Like, there's one specific thing that I'm thinking about in this Deadpool Wolverine thing that I will tell the people that want to know after this podcast.
Thank you.
But it's like, why? What was the purpose of that other than just getting seats or like butts and seats at theaters?
Like there's there's an actor that they've chosen. Okay.
Correct. And
okay.
And then they just switch the actor in the next movie. You know what I'm saying? And on that same note, you know, I think we talked about this on the pod. Did we talk about Jonathan Majors and the domestic violence thing and how he's no longer going to be Kang?
Yeah. Dang, dude. Every actor I like does something nasty.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I know.
Yeah. So you shouldn't like actors.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Can't watch movies.
He lost all the... Maddox, I know you're not fully caught up, but it sounds like you watched Loki. So Jonathan Majors was supposed to be Kang the Conqueror, the next super bad, you know, the next Thanos 2.0 of the Marvel Universe. And he lost his job a couple months ago because they were like setting it up for that. And, you know.
Wait, so 2 questions. One, the Jonathan Majors, like he was going to be the same, like the character he played in Loki was going to become like the next.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So, and then are all the actor switches like it's still consistent though with each actor being in a different universe?
Right. Like the idea is the main universe. I think no one get mad at me in the comments here. I'm just saying what I think here.
Earth 616 is the main universe.
Is the main universe. And I thought the only movie that so far has done it well was the Spider-Man movie. No Way Home?
Well, I was actually going to say Earth 616 is the main comic book universe. I think the main cinematic universe is like 19999 or something because in the Spider-Man he makes a comment about Doctor Strange and the other Spider-Man who did that thing, and he calls out a different universe. So the cinematic universe is different than the comic book universe, and the main comic book universe is 616.
But like with Spider-Man, like I don't know, they did it well, bringing back Tobey Maguire, bringing back Andrew Garfield. Like that was a huge moment. But it's like
the cinematic Spider-Man. Okay,
but you can't just keep doing that and just flip-flopping actors and stuff all the time. And I have a point with this. My point is, San Diego Comic-Con just happened. And they had all these big Marvel announcements, right? And as part of the announcement, they scrapped the old like name of the Avengers movie. I think it was called the Kang Dynasty. Scrapped, and they announced the new Avengers, which was going to be called Avengers Doomsday. Okay, and the villain, the main big baddie villain, is Doctor Doom from the comics, and the big kicker, they brought back the Russo brothers, the directors of Captain America Civil War, Avengers, what was the one before Endgame? Infinity Wars. Yeah, that one and Endgame. Phenomenal directors, right? They're going to be there. And they announced Doctor Doom. Honestly, it was pretty badass if you guys watched the clip. they've got all these like people dressed up as Doctor Doom and his little minions on stage. And then they were like, and this is who's going to play Doctor Doom. And they all split, like parting the Red Sea almost. And one person walks up to the front of the stage. He's wearing this mask. And he tears the mask off and throws his hands up in the air. And who is it other than Robert Downey Jr.?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, nothing means anything anymore. Endgame was so good because Iron Man died. Like,
Spoilers.
Okay, sorry. Spoilers for a 5-year-old movie. But
Sure.
Part of what made it so good was like the emotional attachment we felt to the character. And I agree, the character of Iron Man and the character of Doctor Doom are different characters. But when it's the same actor that's going to be playing, like, why? There's so many talented actors out there.
Well, what I was going to say is, well, we don't know what they're going to do with him, one. Two, it sounds like what you're describing is that you don't like bad movies. Like, your problem isn't like the multiverse, because you just said like the Spider-Man movie did like a good job of it.
That's true.
And the animated Spider-Man movie, I think, has done a fantastic job of weaving like the multiverse into the actual like character plot lines.
That's true.
So you just don't like bad movies, which, to be fair, Marvel makes bad movies. So they have made bad movies, especially in like phase 4 and on. So that's completely fair. So that's number 2. Number 3, though, is there are like theories that are going around of how like Doctor Doom ties in to RDJ. So maybe they'll find a way.
On an Earth far, far away, like Iron Man became Doctor Doom because his Uncle Ben died or whatever.
No, one of the Reddit theory, and like that's all we have right now, are Reddit theories, because Marvel hasn't said anything. But it depends on how the Fantastic Four movie is actually like structured, because the idea right now is that the Fantastic Four movie is probably going to have Galactus be the villain.
But Jared, the Fantastic Four movie is set in 1960 something.
Well, okay, well just listen to me. Baby.
So are we going to fast forward?
I'll take you on a journey.
Fast forward 50 years and then Pedro Pascal and all of the Fantastic Four are gone and they're new people again? What are we doing?
This is what you do. You just train a conversation. Let me just explain something real quick. What might happen is, depending on the Fantastic Four movie, they'll have Galactus as the villain. Galactus will win. So the Fantastic Four have to jump into a different like universe, and Doctor Doom is going to try to do it as well. But like the theory, I mean, I can call out the Reddit user. It's a user only here for the zip line. Outstanding name. So his theory is basically that like Doctor Doom also tries to jump, but only his consciousness jumps, not his actual body. Because there's a different actor that's like going to be lined up for the Fantastic Four movie than RDJ. So his consciousness jumps, but it jumps into Iron Man.
But an actual Iron Man.
But
on Earth, not 616, not 19999.
No, I think the idea is that he's going to jump into Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man that we all came to love, and then somehow he's going to get resurrected with like the Infinity Stones or something. So
wait, this is kind of intriguing now. Oh, I kind of like that.
Here, let me give you my thoughts as someone who's not really into the MCU. And I think I'm going to have similar thoughts to like general audiences who watch these movies. This is all too much. I don't really care about it. But when watching these movies, you know, it's entertaining. These movies on their own are entertaining. I don't think general audiences really care or need these movies to sort of have some
like make sense,
like explainable, like connection. They like Robert Downey Jr. because he's witty and funny, and so if he's in the movie as the main villain, they're gonna go watch it. And I think that was Marvel and Disney's motivation for casting him.
It's actually a good point. He's also apparently 2 movies, Doomsday, and then I don't know what the second one's called, but the second one will be like
Endgame 2.
Yeah, Endgame 2. That'll be like wrapping up this saga or something. And for those 2 movies, Robert Downey Jr. is getting paid $80 million.
Again,
that's
good
it
for him.
Is that low? Well, and producer creds, so like I'm sure he gets a cut of the gross too.
I actually don't know what is high or low, but I'm just glad. I think the Fantastic Four and Doctor Doom has been such like a rich storyline that they've just like never really done properly. I know they had like the 3 movies a while ago, but they never really like treated Doctor Doom as like a legitimate villain. And Doctor Doom is like one of the cooler villains, I think, in Marvel. So I'm just glad Doom is making an entrance. Maybe they'll see the backlash and be like, no, don't screw with Robert Downey Jr. because he's so tied to Iron Man. But, we'll see. I'm just glad they have Doom in the MCU.
I agree. All right, let's earn some more lunch money, and then we'll move into a combined third and fourth period today. This podcast is sponsored by And Collar. And Collar is an affordable men's clothing company where products are sustainably made with the equivalent of 15 recycled plastic water bottles. Their shirts have 4-way stretch, are machine washable, liquid repellent, and wrinkle and stain resistant. You can go to andcollar.com right now and get 15% off using code 9. Just so everyone knows, the code has changed. It is code 9 for 15% off. Thanks to And Collar. And also, if you want to join the conversation with us and things that are happening in real time on Discord, we've got more activity in there now. Make sure to join the classroom using the description below. It's completely free. You can chat with us. This week, we were talking about 401ks and Jackson's thoughts on them and my thoughts and some community members. So it's great. So make sure you do that using the link down below. All right, back to the episode. Let's move into a combined third and fourth period with Professors Jackson and Jared. Jackson, tell us what's going on with the Olympics right now and your thoughts.
All right, so my favorite event of the quadrennial, the Olympics, is they are wrapping up. They've wrapped up, and it was I look forward to the Olympics every 4 years. It's like such an amazing event for me because I just like the sort of the high level international competition. I love the many different sports that are present in it. So I just want to get everyone's thoughts on what did you like in this Olympics? What were you paying attention to? What happened that caught your attention?
I loved the social media-ness of it, if that makes sense. I feel like, obviously social media has like been around for a while and like Olympics have had them. I felt like this Olympics hit a peak for me in terms of like meme-worthy content and like just so much content that was like easily digestible, that was quick to digest. Like I didn't feel like I had to watch every single event of every single thing to like understand to like know what was going on. I was able to pick and choose and like find things online, which I felt like was easier than ever before, which I really loved. My favorite event specifically, I'm gonna have to say field hockey because India won the, I think, bronze or silver, something like that.
Oh, wow.
One of the two. So go India, shout outs. And I always love the track and field events. I think they're just so impressive. Those athletes are incredible. Another couple that I watched this year specifically, shooting, mainly again because of the memes, but it was really cool. The
turkey guy?
Yeah, the turkey guy that looked like, your middle-aged dad that literally didn't care about anything. Got
silver.
Great. Yeah, he did. He got silver. Yeah, Jared, thoughts?
I was locked in on basketball because it was like the last time we'll see LeBron, Katie, and Steph play on the same team. Well, actually, I think this might be the only time they've ever played on the same team. But regardless,
maybe an all-star game? Fun. Question mark.
Oh well, at like an actual like competitive like level where there were stakes. So I was locked into that. I got really into volleyball.
Wow! Jared got really into volleyball.
Beach volleyball, right, Jared?
No. The inside. No, the men's volleyball team was incredible.
Don't lie, Jared. You're just looking at the men's cheeks. We know.
Sure. There's no way I'm getting out of this conversation, so sure. So, but I was watching both like women's and men's volleyball, and it was just like unbelievably like impressive just like watch them.
Yeah.
And beach volleyball as well is incredibly impressive, but those were kind of the basketball on the men's and women's side. We'll come back to the women's. But watching that and then the volleyball and then, yeah, I agree with you, Jerome. Track and field is just so unbelievably incredible to watch.
Yeah. So impressive.
Yeah, I was watching that like all day yesterday.
Maddox, have you been keeping up with the Olympics at all?
I'm sorry, but I haven't. I've seen one TikTok of a guy breaking the pole vault world record, I think.
Yeah.
That's
he literally did that?
Yeah, was he Swedish?
He was Swedish, and then he ran and gave his girlfriend a big old hug.
Yeah,
girlfriend or
that's what I saw.
fiance or wife, big old hug.
So yeah, I'm sorry. It's one of those things that I want to be invested in, but I just haven't. I don't even know where to watch it.
Okay.
Where do you guys even watch it?
NBC.
Yeah, I purchased Sling TV specifically for. Well, I bought it for the Euros, Copa America, and then I kept it through this to watch.
To be honest, I don't like allocate time to watching TV anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, unless my fiance and I are watching like a series, we'll watch an episode during dinner, but like that's the only time I watch anything.
I think you might watch more of the 2028 games because it's just going to be on at like 7 or 8 p.m. Whereas like for this, it was all
the time difference
recaps.
was crazy.
Yeah.
Also, so I haven't personally been really keeping up with it, but my family has been like mostly just keeping up with it through TikToks and shorts and stuff.
Right.
And I actually think that's kind of a cool way to like you can just see the highlights and like you're still knowledgeable about what's going on, but you're not having to like sit there and watch the whole thing. I don't know. Maybe that's a hot take, but
no, I completely agree. That was what I said when you stepped away for a second. But Jared, you want to give us a quick stat update on the Olympics, and then Jackson, I want to hear your thoughts as well
on the medal count.
Yeah.
Yes. So, not to date this recording, but for those who are actually watching like the YouTube video, if you like, I was reacting while we were talking about something else differently because the U.S. women like just won gold. They did. They won gold 67 to 60, like right now, like 30 minutes ago.
As of
they won
August
gold.
11th.
Okay, there you go. There's the date.
We're dating the podcast. Okay.
Yeah, but we're talking about the end of the Olympics. So that ties the U.S. with China. Also, like, go watch that game. It was actually like, well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but it almost went to overtime. But that gold gives the U.S. 40 gold. China also has 40 gold. And then the U.S. ended up with like 126 total medals. China had 91. Highlights from the U.S. team was track and field. They won 14 gold. I think it's either the total medal count or the gold is like one of the highest, if not like the highest medal counts they've ever had for track and field specifically. So yeah, I mean, I think the U.S. did well. I think the tiebreaker's total medal, so USA number one in however you want to say it. But yeah, 40 gold. 40 gold seems impressive, but it was like 40-40-40. It was 40 gold, 44 silver, 42 bronze for Team USA. So I'd call it productive, and I was like following the men's basketball. They got the gold, so I'm satisfied.
You are a very cocky guy. A very patriotic, cocky guy.
I mean, we are number one. That is a fact.
That's actually something I want to talk about is, well, we're all American here, even Jerome.
Took 20 years, but I am
yes. Now. So, do you all, okay, whenever there's these international sporting events, would you say you all are patriotic? Because I'll give my opinion. For me personally, I actually am mainly invested in like the sporting competition, and I really kind of detach myself from U.S. sports as like an entity, mainly because I don't really like patriotism as a concept, but that's more of a philosophical discussion. But no, I mean, like, I watch sports that I'm just interested in. I watched a lot of table tennis. I watched some badminton. I really like diving. I really like weightlifting. Handball. So I wasn't necessarily, because I think a lot of American audiences, they were exposed to swimming, gymnastics, track and field, sports that the USA tends to do well in. And so I just wanted to know, how patriotic are you all when it comes to watching the Olympics and just international sporting in general?
Yeah, I would say I'm patriotic when the U.S. is in it. And then I have more appreciation for the sport when the U.S. is not. So, like, I was watching table tennis as well, and just watching, like, basically that one, like, Chinese duo, the mixed table tennis. Mm-hmm. Chinese duo they were just incredibly impressive to watch. So, like, I enjoyed watching that sport, but if there was an American team in it, I would be rooting for the American team. Like, the amount of explicatives that I threw at my TV yesterday for USA versus France, geared towards France, was at an all-time high. So I get patriotic when the U.S. is especially going for a gold, but just a medal in general. But if the U.S. isn't in it, then I can appreciate the sport a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I tend to agree. It's kind of the same thing that happens with all kind of international sporting events, right? Like, when the World Cup happens and the U.S. is in it, like everyone in America automatically becomes like this huge U.S. men's national soccer team fan. Or like just recently, the cricket like ICC World Cup just happened, and the U.S. did really well, and now all of a sudden everyone knows everything about cricket. And I do think we are just a very patriotic country, and it's easier to root for something that you have a little bit of connection to than nothing. But I agree with you, Jared. Like, I think when we are not in the competition, I just love watching. Like, for example, like I watched so many of the shooting things, and like the pieces that I saw, the United States weren't competing, you know, but I was still just interested. I thought it was just like cool. So yeah.
When you brought this up, Jackson, my initial thought was like, if the U.S. won like any of these individual Olympic events, like I guess I'd be indifferent. But I was thinking like, if the U.S. won like the World Cup, not that I care, not that I'm like patriotic or anything, but like I would get hype about that for some reason.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe the dynamic is like, okay, if I have an attachment to the sport, and then like my country comes in and like wins it, like I would get excited about that, but I'm not just like getting excited about my country competing, I guess. And especially particularly in things that I'm not like already like keeping up with. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but
yeah, it does.
Some of the events were like really impressive. Like the synchronized diving, there were these two Chinese women. It was incredible. It was literally incredible to watch. They were like twins. I guess that's the point of the event. But like,
there you go.
It was,
and then a 6-inch splash. Pretty remarkable how little water comes up.
How do they calculate that?
Oh, I'm just saying that like if you look, like there's just like almost no splash.
Oh,
which think about yourself doing that same thing, you know?
Right. I'm going in cannonball every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I'm not gonna lie. I think I'd be too scared to jump off a diving board that high. It's like a pretty high diving board. Anyway, anything else you guys want to talk about Olympics wise, or should we move into recess?
I mean, I just want to conclude with that football is back, which is why I have my Ravens jersey. I'm not going to go on a spiel about it, but football is back. So everybody can breathe easy now. We got the NFL and college coming here in a couple weeks. But the people need to know it's back.
I think Jackson said that you're wearing what is it? Ray Rice
jersey?
No,
it's a Marlon Humphrey jersey.
Oh.
It's a Marlon Humphrey jersey.
Sorry, I thought you were just a supporter of the Ray Rices, Jonathan Majors
Please
of
do
the
not
world.
put that on me.
No?
Please do not put that on me.
My fault.
No,
my fault.
I am
my
not.
fault. Okay. Well, on that note, let's move into everybody's favorite segment of the week, Recess, where we talk about our findings of the funniest and dumbest memes on the internet that came across our feed this week across Twitter, Reddit, etc. Speaking of the Olympics, did you guys see? You had to have seen it. I'll put the photo in the video, but you guys have to know what I'm talking about. The Olympic pole vaulter, whose dreams were shattered, and the headline reads, "Dreams shattered by his own penis." Did you see this, Maddox? You seem to have not seen this. There was this Olympic pole vaulter. He goes over the thing, right? Going for a world record or personal record, whatever. And, he's just well endowed. And his junk hit the pole, man.
Oh, wow.
His junk hit the pole, and he lost.
Wow.
And it was so sad. But someone brought up the Swedish guy that broke the world record earlier, right? I saw this tweet where, so he breaks the world record, he runs off and hugs and kisses his wife or fiance. Beautiful, beautiful moment. And I saw someone comment on it, and they were like, "But at what cost? Now the whole world knows that you have a small pecker."
Compared to this guy.
And I just thought that was so funny. And I got one more Olympic thing for you guys to before we completely move off of it. Did you guys know that like countries actually pay out prize money for winning medals?
U.S. not too much, but other countries a lot.
Yeah, like I'd never actually thought about it. Like obviously these people are professional athletes, but most of the sport, or I guess amateur athletes technically, but most of the sports, it's like they probably have like an actual job as well, that's like paying the bills. And like you would think that it's just pride of representing your nation that they're going for, but apparently they do get paid. So I just wanted to play a little quick game of How much do you think people get paid when they win gold?
Mhm.
We'll workshop the name for next time.
Yeah.
Let's start with the United States. What do we think? How much do people in the U.S. get for gold?
I think it's like 30K.
Solid
Yeah,
guess.
25.
Solid guess.
50.
Jared was very, very, very close. $37,500. For silver, they get $25,000. For bronze, they get $12,500. Let's find out what people get in other countries. Does anyone want to guess who pays the most? I'll give you the dollar number. It is $768,000
I think I know.
per gold medal. Okay,
Well,
then
then
Jackson,
guess.
you go last. Jared,
Oh, I was going to say South Korea.
good guess. Good guess. South Korea pays $45,000. Maddox?
Oh, wow.
I have no idea. Jackson, you go.
Hong Kong, baby.
He is correct. It's Hong Kong. $768,000.
My favorite country.
Really?
I wasn't going to get that.
Similarly, Singapore pays $745,000. A couple other ones, just notable ones. Israel pays $271,000. Kazakhstan $250K. And notably, the Brits, the UK, $0. Just for pride of the nation, I guess.
The Kazakhstan one is maybe the only one where they're actually probably paying an athlete once that happens. Because, like, how many times is Hong Kong, Singapore, and I forget the third one that you say, like, actually putting a gold medalist up there?
Yeah,
But
I think that's
Hong Kong's really good at fencing. I think they won 2 fencing gold medals.
Huh? Okay.
good for them.
I buy it. I take it back.
I think that's kind of the point. Is like these countries that never win, the incentive is so much higher to try to get the best of the best, I guess.
Is this like taxpayer money, tax dollars going?
Yeah, dude.
That
Gold
is a
medal
great
for the UK.
question.
It's nationally sponsored sporting programs. That's why
Right.
China is getting so much better at winning gold medals. It's like they have a lot more investing than the U.S., I would say, in their athletes.
How much does China pay out?
I actually don't have that on this list.
Man, you
But-
did this whole segment and you didn't even have China pay out.
I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry.
Beside the payout, some of these countries, they spend like a lot of money, paying these athletes like to train, or giving them stipends to train in these like sort of
Exactly,
obscure
exactly.
sports.
And I was
Yeah.
going to talk about that. There are other non-monetary things that they give. For example, Kazakhstan offers apartments for all medalists. South Korea adds on to their pension in addition to prize money. In Malaysia, you win, that country's national sports council gets a foreign-made car for you.
That's kind of funny.
Um,
For doing so well at your country,
yeah.
we're going to give you somebody else's car.
And then similarly, like Jackson was mentioning, there are these world governing boards as well, like World Athletics has said that anyone that medals in track and field, they have a pool of $2.4 million, and they will divvy that up amongst
And
medal
you get to
winners.
jump in the pool of money and swim around.
Like
Correct.
Daffy Duck.
Similarly, international
Scrooge McDuck.
boxing, they've got a pool of 3.1 million that's going to go to all the people. U.S. track and field has their own pool of like I want to say it's like $250,000 or $500,000 that they're splitting up amongst winners.
Sounds a
So
lot this year.
it is cool. And then obviously you got the people like Michael Phelps that are getting all the sponsorships. So
Sure.
just a cool little tidbit.
Another incentive that I know about is that a lot of countries where they have like mandatory military service, if you win a medal in the Olympic Games, you are exempted from military service. I know
Oh,
specifically there was an athlete, a table tennis player from South Korea, who he was scheduled to enlist on, I think, the week after the Olympics ended, so next week, but he got the bronze medal in mixed doubles, and so he was exempted.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
That's crazy.
That's
Good
awesome.
for that guy.
I got one more meme for you guys. So I saw this on my Twitter feed. There was $43 million of cash found in an empty Nigerian apartment. Okay. And the comment reads, "Poor guy probably spent all of the past decade trying to share it, but no one ever replied to his email."
That's hilarious.
I like that.
Which is
Also,
great.
this guy's name is pretty funny, but
yeah. We'll put the picture up there and let people.
Dude,
do what
is
they
there
want.
any like
Maybe not.
explanation why there was 43 million?
Also,
Yeah,
it's
I didn't
U.S.
I didn't click on
Yeah.
the. I didn't click on the link.
Maybe he was going to be on vacation. And he's like to the landlord, just I'm gonna leave my rent in the apartment. Come pick it up.
Well, do you guys have anything else for recess, or should we wrap up?
Nope, just USA number one.
Let's do it. Well, thank you guys for watching the episode. As always, if you want to interact with us, come and join the classroom on Discord using the link below. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel to watch the video version of the podcast. Make sure you're following both the Instagram and TikTok at 9 Degrees Pod. Thank you guys for watching the episode, and class is now dismissed.
Peace.